Hey, it's Ben, and I wanted to share with you some of the most important things I learned about being a landlord. So, is landlording really an active or is it a passive business? Well, I've been doing this for 12 years, and I've got my own answer I wanted to share with you, kind of let you know what I've discovered over the last 12 years. So first of all, when I first started buying properties, I would buy one, then rent it out, and then buy second, and then rent it out. And I had the mindset that if I just bought enough properties, at some point I would get that mailbox money that we're all looking for. You know, that check that comes in on the first of every month. And I thought if I can just get that system set up, at some point I'd be able to walk away from the management, just hire somebody, and then just have that passive income that we're all looking for from rental properties. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, I read all those books, so I figured this was the best path to use. Well, here's what I realized, that number one, rental properties and management of properties is an active business, not a passive hobby. Too many of us, we treat it like a passive hobby. So, we buy a property, we do a little bit of work, we bring in a tenant, and then we basically start managing and self-managing all of those properties on our own. So all those questions and all those fears that landlords have, like leaky toilets, tenants calling you at 10 o'clock at night, variable expenses on the properties because of roofs and all this, guess what? It's all very legitimate concerns, and it happens all the time. So yes, you will deal with tenant nightmares. You're gonna deal with evictions. You're gonna deal with people leaving the property. You're gonna deal with other people's active lives. So this business is a business. So the first thing I wanna let you know is that the management and real estate rental business is an active business. It is not, I repeat, not a passive business model. So what that means is like any other active business, you're gonna need different departments. You're gonna need employees, expenses. You're gonna need to wear every hat in the business, from renting the property out to cleaning the property. You're basically gonna buy yourself a second job. That's the truth. And now you probably heard it before and it probably scared you away in the past, but that's the reality. A lot of landlords, after they become landlords, they'll tell you that this is a lot more work than they thought it was gonna be. So it is definitely an active business. What is a passive business? Well, a passive business is truly something that doesn't require any of your time to produce a passive revenue stream. So how can this business become one? Well, there's some ways. But as long as we realize that, just like any business, until you have systems, procedures, employees, a team, until you have all of these things in place, it'll be you, just like it was me. Managing the properties, taking phone calls. Every time it rains, I'm shivering in the corner because I'm thinking, oh my Lord, I'm gonna have to go take care of a flooding basement or a leaky roof. That's just part of the concerns. So it is a myth among a lot of other investors that I'll just get money and I'll just grow into it. You have to understand, we are buying a second job the moment we decide to become landlords on a small scale. So active versus passive, real estate landlording is a very active business, not a passive. So if you're getting into this or got into this business for the purpose of waiting at home, collecting monthly rent checks, the reality is you probably won't have that experience unless you can hire a capable, competent team. Now, can you hire a property manager? Sure you can. Are they supposed to alleviate a lot of your issues and time? And sure they are. But the reality is this, a property management company is just that, a company whose job it is to make money first and take care of your property second. So if that company doesn't make money, guess what? They won't take very good care of your property. So every time you have an expense, you are paying a middleman, a manager, more than you should to fix it. So that's the reality. Can they answer the phone and collect your rent check once a month and save you that piece? Sure. If you're ready to pay 8, 10, 12% of your gross collected rent to a manager, they certainly can. But we have to realize that on a small scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 properties, it really isn't worth paying 10% of your margin back to another third-party manager. So we'll talk more about that in the future, but that's my experience over the last 12 years. That rental property is a very, very active business like any other business.